A wealthy white West Virginia couple have been accused of forcing their 5 adoptive black kids, including a 6-year-old, to work as slaves and live inside of a locked barn. Donald Ray Lance, age 63, and Jenny K. Whitefeather, age 62, of Charleston, West Virginia, pled not guilty on Tuesday to multiple new charges after their kids were found locked in a dilapidated shed after laboring on the surrounding farmland. The judge presiding over the case stated that the couple targeted their 5 kids, aged 16, 14, 11, 9, and 6, because of their race, and they were used basically as slaves. According to the original arrest report in October, the 16 and the 14-year-old children were locked in a squalid 20 by 14 shed with no lights, food, or running water, with a camera planted in the top left corner of the room. The children, who smelled of body odor, were found wearing dirty clothes with sores on their feet after a wellness check was performed on the outhouse of Cheyenne Lane, which had no way of being opened from the inside. The shed sat on the grounds of the couple's 5-acre, 3-bedroom, 295,000 Sissonville property. They also owned 80 acres or $725,000 home in Tonasket, Washington, which they sold after their arrest back in October. Whitefeather stated that the barn where the girl 16 and the boy 14 were found was a teenage clubhouse and they were not being held against their will. The mother told deputies that the children, who were all homeschooled, actually liked the shed they were locked in. However, the teenage girl told deputies at 6 p.m. they had been locked in the building for approximately 12 hours and were last given food at around 6 a.m. The building only had a small RV porta potty and no running water. The children were also forced to sleep on the hard concrete floor. The criminal complaint stated, quote, "If there was a medical emergency or a fire, the children would be unable to exit the locked room to safety." Court documents stated that neighbors reported that the children were forced into farm labor and were not allowed inside the main house. Filings also state that the teenage boy reeked of body odor and had open sores on his bare feet. 3 hours after finding the older children in the locked shed, deputies found a 9-year-old girl holed up in a loft inside the family's locked main house. Lance came home with an 11-year-old boy, while Whitefeather surrendered their 6-year-old girl to authorities, who has been with friends from a couple's church. Child Protective Services were called at the time and took custody of the children. The new charges the couple are facing including human trafficking of a minor child, use of a minor child in forced labor, and child neglect, creating substantial risk of serious bodily injury or death. The upgraded charges also stem from the allegations of civil rights violations based on color, race, and/or ancestry. Their bond has now been set to $500,000 each, which is $300,000 more than each of their original bonds set earlier this year. The latest indictment claims that the couple is guilty of human rights violations, alleging that the couple forced their children into hard labor because of their race. Kanawha County Circuit Judge Mary Claire Akers stated that the case is the first of its kind that she has seen in her career, and that the couple's original bond of $200,000 was insufficient compared to the severity of their crimes. Quote, "Along with human trafficking and neglect was serious risk of bodily injury or death. I don't find the bond to be sufficient. It alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor. Human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race and they were used basically as slaves from what the indictment alleges. The minors involved were ages 16, 14, 11, 9, and 6. The indictment suggests that the 3 of the adopted children were black. Prosecutors previously raised concerns that the couple's joint $400,000 bond money in February might have come from their alleged human trafficking activities. Kanawha County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney reported that the couple, who previously claimed to have no assets or income, sold their 80-acre ranch in Tonasket, Washington for $725,000 back in February 2nd. 3 days later, Whitefeather's brother, Marcus Hudges, posted 2 $200,000 bonds to get the couple out of the jail cells that they were currently being held in. Then on March 28th, prosecuting attorney noted that they also sold their homes in Sissonville, where they were arrested for $295,000. Prosecutors concluded that despite whether or not the money was obtained legally, it was originally intended for human trafficking. Deputies have stated that there are no prior criminal records for the two adults in West Virginia. Kanawha County Sheriff's deputies previously stated that a complaint was made back in May of 2023 about the couple. The second complaint was made in September. The nature of those complaints were similar to the charges the pair now faces. In both cases last year, deputies stated that they did not find any wrongdoing when they made the trip to the West Virginia home. Stated that they saw the children inside the home and, on one occasion, they were eating dinner. The couple's money is still in custody of the court, and the prosecuting attorney stated that should be transferred to the children in the form of a trust. Whitefeather's attorney, Mark Plant, stated at the hearing in February, quote, "The main allegation is that the children were locked in a shed. The evidence is going to show that there was a key inside. This case, on its face, sounds atrocious. However, there are two sides to every story." Let me just make this very, very clear, and I'm pretty sure that either you'll have the black conservatives and whoever, they'll decide to skip over this story, or they'll try to make some type of an excuse and say that the kids are just lying and they're just this and they're just that, right? Always trying to quote unquote blame the victim. And never at one point in time have I ever thought about like, hey, if I ever adopt some kids and I, adopt some white kids, that I'm going to do this for the ancestors. I've never had that thought process. If I were to ever adopt any kids directly out here, I would want to afford them the best life or a better life than what it is that they are accustomed to. I would want them to feel safe. I would want them to feel secure. I would want them to have the best education. If whatever education that is the best that I am able to provide for them, that's what I would, directly want for those kids, because I feel like every kid should be afforded those things realistically for free, right? And I'm just a little bit confused, right? Because the main thing is this. You always have a lot of people that say that, hey, America is not, a racist country. Why does everybody have to see race? And why does we're all God's children? That normal kumbaya thing that everybody likes to state. Even the lawyer tried to do that as well. He was like, on the face, this case, it sounds atrocious. It sounds horrendous. But Your Honor, the real crux, of the case here is that if they were or were not locked in a shed, and I am here to tell you that, clearly there was a key directly there. Then he also wanted to state that, hey, there are two sides to every story. This is the problem. The only side of the story that we are hearing is that of the two adults. I'm not going to call them parents. The two adults, or the quote unquote slave owners, per se. And they were able to sell homes. They owned land. They had the kids, working and toiling the fields. For whatever reason, these two old individuals here did not have the energy or the wherewithal to want to, do things on their own land. It is crazy that they didn't want to hire landscapers. They didn't want to, formulate their own company, to have the company come there and work for free, or however it is that you want to sit up there and do it. They didn't want to do any of those things. They forego all of those things to decide to adopt kids because of the race, right? Because of the color of their skin, and decided to have them live on the land, literally, and to be in a shed with no type of running water, without any type of toiletries, without any type of a shower or a bath. It was to the point where one of the kids had sores on his feet because of how much he literally works. And then it seems as though that they were only getting fed once a day out of 12 hours. That's crazy. And then no telling, the types of bugs or wildlife that they may have had to encounter with them being out there in that shed. That's insane. That's 100% insane. And you still have people that want to sit up there and state that, oh yeah, slavery doesn't exist. Oh, that was abolished, a long time ago, and those things don't just so happen to exist anymore because X, Y, Z, and yada yada yada. But yeah, we got the 13th Amendment. You literally have slaves when we're dealing with the prison industry, the jail system. We literally have that because they can't vote. They can't, move autonomously. They can't go where it is that they want to sit up there and go. We still have slavery still to this day, even though it's not, at the same face value that it once was. It's still present. But even beyond that, we still do have slavery in certain areas. Now, again, this was just one couple. But who's to say that you don't have other couples out there doing this exact same thing? Again, you have people out here that want to go out here and adopt black kids for untold reasons. And then magically things happen to these black kids for untold reasons. They either go missing or nobody can find them. Loss of life magically happens for some reason. And it's just a mystery. And yet here you have a story where this is in America, 2024, guys, 2024, where this is taking place. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? I would love to hear somebody try to rewrite the history on this one, try to say that the kids were, these are substantiated lies. The kids are just out to get the two people for their money. They're just, greedy, and they're just making up all types of salacious lies. I would love to hear the rewriting that people would try to make on this story, knowing the fact of what it is that they did directly to these kids. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about the story and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.